How do you know if the gut's working right? Let me give you a story of a man that came to our health retreat with his wife. He was 68, his wife was 67. I said, what is your reason for coming to our retreat? He said, I'm here to accompany my wife. I said, right. I said, how many bowel movements do you average a day? Because I did a health assessment on him. He said 6. I said, oh, that's a lot. He said, yes, I've got irritable bowel. I said, oh, are you on medication? Yes. And he listed the anti-inflammatories and the cortisones. He said, yes, recently the doctor said I can do no more for you. I said, oh. And then I looked at what he ate. He loved bread, he loved meat, he loved dairy, and he loved sugar, and he loved a couple of scotches every night. You see, when you're healing an irritated gut, this is what you've got to do. Number 1, stop all the irritants. What are the irritants? Wheat, dairy, in fact all the things he was having. Refined sugar, alcohol. All of these foods are like kerosene to a fire to an irritated gut. And he was having lots of them. Number 2, probiotic. Probiotic is for life. And that cortisone that he was on, it can break down that gut flora. The very thing he was taking to supposedly heal him, it wasn't at all. All it does is stop the gut being inflamed. And on all that medication he's going 6 times a day. And number 3, there is a herb called slippery elm, and slippery elm coats, soothes and heals the lining of the gut. Psalm 104 verse 14, the Bible says, God gave herbs for the service of man. Slippery elm is a remarkable herb. It not only gives form to the stool, it coats, soothes and lines the gut, and it contains a growth stimulant, so it can stimulate rapid healing in the lining of the gut. I said, can I try some things on you? He said, certainly. Now, we don't serve any wheat or dairy or refined sugar or alcohol at our health retreat. You've probably noticed. I gave him slippery elm 4 times a day, morning, noon, 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. at night. And I gave him a double dose of probiotic. You see, he told me he walks by the beach every morning, and where he walks, there are 4 restrooms on his walk. He's got to, because he's got to keep going in. So in his 1-hour walk every morning, he's got to do 4 stops. First 2 days of the program, he's on juices, so I'm watching him closely. I said, how many times are you going? He said, 5, that's 1 less, on juices. You see, the slippery elm gives form, it coats and soothes. The second day, he was very happy. He said, I only had to stop 3 times on my morning walk this morning. And he's going 4 times. He's dropping 1 movement a day, fantastic. And it's becoming formed. Wednesday eating food was much better. I said to him, I believe you can stop your anti-inflammatories and halve your cortisone. He was not interested in doing that on day 1, but because of the results he was getting, he became interested. By Friday, he's going 3 times a day. That's exciting, and formed. The bleeding from the bowel had stopped. The cramping had stopped. This is on medication, all that was happening. On Sunday morning, he came running up to me very excited. He said, I just went on my morning walk and didn't go. Oh, how exciting. When he came to our health retreat, who was he here for? And he sat in the consultation like this. Because of the results he was getting, he was very interested. Because what has his doctor just told him? I can do no more for you. In fact, I know what's next. They start cutting out the colon. And you want to keep away from the knife if at all possible. And you see, it's our responsibility to prove to our doctor that we can do it. And isn't it wonderful when you surprise them? We live in an amazing body. This man's been dealing with this for 30 years. How long was he at our health retreat? 1 week. He's not healed, but he's getting a long way towards it. You see, cortisone is one drug you have to ease off. You have to ease off slowly. I haven't heard any more, but it was pretty exciting what we saw there. Do you know, as the stools become more formed and less frequent, he can start easing off the slippery elm. But before he eases off the slippery elm, my suggestion to him was get off the cortisone totally, and when everything settles down, start easing off the slippery elm. When he first came to our health retreat, he was not interested in stopping wheat, dairy, sugar and alcohol, but he's interested now. That's one of the beauties of coming to a health retreat, is you can try things at the health retreat and see what works for you. That will work for gastritis, ulcerative gastritis, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, colitis. It will heal them all. How long will it take? How long's a piece of string? Depends how willing the person is to adhere to what you've got to do. And it also depends on how much medication they're on and how long it's been like this. But I can't think of a case more serious than this man's. 30 years, going 6 times a day, blood, cramping, almost liquid. What about the other way round, which is when we come to the large colon, not going enough? But before we go there, let's have a look at the appendix. The appendix isn't a mistake. Did you know that? The appendix is a very important organ. It has a nickname. It's called the colon's oil can, because what the appendix does, it lubricates the contents that come out so they can pass with ease through the colon. The appendix also releases antibacterial fluid. So if what's coming out of the small intestine is toxic, it can release fluid there to calm it down. Why would it come out of here toxic? Definitely it's always toxic on a meat diet. You see, dogs' digestive tract is about 1.5 meters long, and they're meat eaters. It's in and out quickly, whereas human beings, it's about 8.5 meters long. So by the time it's getting down here, it's putrefying. See, this is a warm environment. You just put meat in a warm environment overnight, what's happening to it? It's going bad. Yes, there are enzymes in there that are breaking it down. Yes, that is happening, because lots of people eat meat and they're not dead. So if someone does want to eat meat, they really have to pack it out with a lot of vegetables to get it through without it poisoning them. Another problem with meat is there's no fibre, and so it easily can get caught in these little pockets. Another reason why if someone chooses to eat meat, it must be with a lot of vegetables to move it through. Now, if a person's eating meat, that food's putrefying, and if they have a steak, say, and ice cream for dessert, that sugar feeds that putrefaction process. So what's coming out here is pretty bad. Now, if what's coming out here is constantly bad, that appendix starts to overwork and it starts to swell. You've heard of people getting appendicitis. It's usually just poor old appendix is just overworked. So what this colon needs, and we looked at that a little bit today, it needs fibre. Your vegetables are your highest fibre food. Vegetables are high in fibre, high in minerals, low in sugars. Whereas fruit is high in fibre, but it's high in sugars and low in minerals. So your healing foods are more your vegetable foods. One of the main functions of the colon is to take water out, so stools are formed. So it's very important to drink adequate water so your colon doesn't have to take too much water out to form the stools.